Hey, Akar, I just wanted to give you a quick congratulations for this accomplishment. I've been following you on YouTube and Instagram recently, and I was really excited. I woke up pretty early to actually catch this because I'm in the East Coast of the United States. The one topic or thing that I wanted to hear you perhaps reflect upon actually is the fragility of stone and specifically marble because I am quite literally in the studio right now and I also do carve stone myself. So sculptor to sculptor, I was really curious to hear you speak about marble's inherent fragility and how that connects to violence. Because when I think of violence, I think of kind of the subject of violence, or like who violence can be done onto. And I find that like the more powerful something is and the less vulnerable or like the less fragile something is, the harder it is to inflict violence upon it. So yes, I just wanted to hear you just quickly perhaps reflect on fragility, and then perhaps if you have a moment, also how it might connect to masculinity ultimately. So yes.
Well, first of all, Raheem, thank you for being there from the East Coast. And I'm very happy that this discussion is also going to colleague sculptors, and it's not limited to the academic. This is something that needs to be discussed also among fellow sculptors, and which is not happening a lot. So I'm very happy
Right.
that you are here. The question of fragility is something I need to think about. But what brings it to my mind is also the if something is fragile, we need to protect it. And as I already said before, there is a danger of overprotection, right? Of not being ready as a sculptor, but also as a person and society to learn to let go of things. We always want to protect and restore, and it's actually a way of walking back in time, right? The Bamyan's Buddhas have been destroyed, they have been torn down, and we can reconstruct them, but would that really bring back what has been removed? Or is the idea much stronger than the mere sculptural representation of that? How much sense does it make to put so much effort in reconstructing them, whereas the absence of them in this case is so much more powerful and denouncing of what has happened, right? Reconstructing something would mean canceling someone's gestures, and then also what they did, and I think it's dangerous in that. So fragility in that sense, stone is very fragile. We are not aware of the immense effort that we put in protecting heritage. You know, you have the UNESCO museums. There is so much effort put into that, and I think it's very much telling of how everything is always under threat of disappearing, of being damaged, and then again testifying to the ubiquitous threat of violence, right? And how
Right.
things need to be um, how dynamics work between societies, cultures, countries. If you don't do this, I'll do that, and I'll destroy your monuments, I'll tear them down. So that, in that sense, culture almost functions as a diplomatic soft power.
Thank
Pressure.
you. Yeah, I there was this. I think I could have maybe added a little bit to my question in terms of actually like unforeseen fault lines in a block of stone that, depending on just like your knowledge of the right block, you might be able to see it or you might not be able to see it. But like you can be like 70% into a work and a fault line appears, and it actually really dictates just like what happens after you discover that fault line. And I think just like generally the notion that I think people attach to any stone is just how strong and how hard it is. But that to me tends to feel like a ruse or just like a facade of strength, because ultimately I think there's always a fault line in most things that are very, very strong. And once you find that fault line, they kind of just fall apart.
Yeah, we're getting very technical here, but that's very interesting.
Sorry.
It's interesting. I think more important is how do you react to that fault line, right? You spend time carving something, and then you realize that the it will fall apart. Again, as I was talking with Gilanijar, it's just stone and it's just a statue. There are no real consequences to that, right? If the stone breaks, okay, you have more time and energy, but nobody died, nothing wrong has happened. Many people ask me, what if you accidentally break the nose out of a portrait?
Right.
You move on, right? You accept it and you move on. And I think it's about the power that you have to do that, to just adjust and accept life as it comes and then keep going with the rest. It doesn't make sense to cry on that, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't want to take up
Thank you,
much
Rahim.
more.